We've got another one. Jean Paul Gaultier have released La Mal Lover. The previous release was La Mal Elixir. That was excellent. So let's find out if this one is also a love. I picked this up at the airport a couple of days ago. I was just passing through, didn't expect it to be released. I had actually ordered it from, I think, a Spanish website, so that is still on its way to me when I get home. So I'm gonna have 2 bottles of this. Is it good enough to have 2 bottles? There are some La Mal releases that haven't impressed me at all. On board Aviator, I didn't think they were very good, but La Mal Parfum and Elixir were great. So let's find out if this is one of the good ones or the not so good ones. Only 3 notes listed for this one: vanilla, white pepper and ambergris. The brand are calling this a vanilla amber aquatic. It doesn't really commit to any of those things. Also, I don't really get much La Mal DNA from this La Mal fragrance. What I get is a slightly sugary, sweet, powdery fragrance. Not as much La Mal in here as Elixir. A little bit disappointing. When I buy a La Mal fragrance, I want La Mal. I want that La Mal smell. I thought Elixir did that perfectly. We had the lavender and the mint. We had that La Mal DNA. It was recognizable there. Obviously not as much as in the original, but it was still there. And then they added the tobacco and the honey. So it was definitely identifiable as a La Mal fragrance. This one, not so much for me. And with them mentioning vanilla, I was hoping that they would lean into that. Maybe you would get some nice warming, creamy vanilla, but then that wouldn't be that aquatic. So there is a little bit of vanilla, creamy sweetness in here, but it's all just a little bit vague. It's a pretty powdery, sweet fragrance. I am getting some white florals. None are listed, maybe there's none in there, but I'm getting something similar to Gucci Guilty Elixir, the recent release from Gucci, which I enjoyed. I don't think this is as good as that. It doesn't lean into the florals as much as that. It's a pretty pleasant, powdery, sweet fragrance. There's a little bit of warmth there underneath. I'm not really getting much aquatic from this. I don't know why the brand have come out and said that this is an aquatic fragrance. That could have worked. They could have done something similar to Eau Fraiche, maybe, just a variation on that, because that is an excellent fragrance, but they haven't committed to that aquatic thing, so I wouldn't describe this at all as a summer release fragrance. When I first sprayed it, I couldn't help but be reminded a little bit of Gucci Guilty Elixir. That was another powdery white floral. Really enjoyed that fragrance, but I don't think this is as good as that. Interestingly, that fragrance, Gucci Guilty Elixir, was compared to Reflection Man, which in turn was compared to the original La Mal, so it's all sort of in that territory. First spray of this was at the airport. My dad was sitting opposite me and he said it smelled almondy, marzipan-y. I get that, it has that little bit of a vibe to it. I also got that from Gucci Guilty Elixir. He also said it smelled very sweet and a bit feminine to him. But a lot of male fragrances do go that way, and I think he's just got maybe a different idea of what a masculine fragrance is. Performance, you're gonna wanna know about that. It's not that great. I sprayed this and I maybe got an hour or 2 of a bit of projection. I was getting a few wafts, but it wasn't anything to write home about. I was willing it. I was willing the performance to improve and to last, but for me, it just didn't. It faded really quickly. I don't think there's much of a scent bubble. I don't think that many people are gonna smell this on you unless they come up really close. Now, take this with a pinch of salt, because in the past, whenever I've mentioned a fragrance or talked about a fragrance that hasn't had good performance on me, in fact, fragrances where the performance stinks, other people have said, it's great, it's a beast. So, you know, I don't know. All I can tell you is what I get from this, and unfortunately, it's a pretty thin smelling fragrance that isn't lasting long at all on me. When you compare the performance with La Mal Elixir and La Mal Parfum, nowhere near the same level of performance on me as those fragrances are. So this is inferior to those in performance and also in smell. It's not a terrible fragrance, it's not a bad fragrance, it's not a smell that I'm embarrassed to wear. It's just not as good as the other ones. Presentation pretty cool, like the tattoo design on the bottle. The can looks pretty cool as well. I do think Elixir had a better presentation for me though. But all in all, it's nice. So I talked about the brand saying this was an aquatic style fragrance. This is definitely not just a summer fragrance. It's an all year round wear. It is pretty versatile. That is one of its strengths. You could wear this any season, all year round, any occasion. It's just when you do choose to wear it, I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact. It's an easy to wear fragrance. I think a lot of people are probably going to enjoy it because there's not a lot to hate about it. I'm just a little bit disappointed that they didn't do more with the release. I wanted them to take a bit more of a creative risk, create a fragrance that was a bit more memorable, a bit more impactful, a little bit different. Every new fragrance release has the opportunity to be this amazing game changer. Now I know that's easier said than done and most fragrance releases aren't game changers, but brands do have that opportunity to create something that is going to trend, that people are really going to like, that will stand the test of time, that will become timeless, like the original La Malle. And I think La Malle, Le Parfum and Elixir will have that sort of longevity to them as well. This, not so much for me. I would have loved to have seen them go the route of Reflection 45. So I've compared La Malle with Reflection Man and Gucci Guilty Elixir. I've said they're all in that sort of area. With Reflection 45 from Amouage, they took that Reflection Man DNA and they made it more impactful. They added some earthiness, they made it a little bit more animalic, but that all contrasted amazingly well with the sweet side of the fragrance. Now I'm not saying that they should have made this smell exactly like Reflection 45, but they could have taken the La Malle DNA and just added some balls to it. Made it a really impactful fragrance, full of attitude, but still sweet and likable and all those things that we love about La Malle, but just giving it something extra. I feel like I'm hating on this a little bit. It's not a bad fragrance. I'm just disappointed that they didn't take this further, that they didn't take a little bit of a creative risk like with the original La Malle. It took the world by storm. Every new fragrance release, in particular every new La Malle release, for me, I get really excited. I'm willing it to be amazing. I want it to be fantastic. Unfortunately for me, being a bit of a La Malle fanboy, it's not really resonated, it's not really done anything that makes me get excited about this fragrance. There will be lots of you out there that really enjoy this. If you just love something easygoing, something that probably will get a few compliments, slightly sweet, sugary fragrance, it's probably gonna be okay. It's not bad, it's not a bad smell. It just could have been so much more. And that's what's disappointing. All right, that's it for this one. Sorry, I couldn't be a little bit more positive about that. I'm sure people in the comments will be saying I've been too negative about it, but I am just being honest. These are still pretty much your first impressions because I've only been wearing it for a couple of days. Maybe 6 months down the line, I might have warmed to it a little bit, but I don't think so. I've got a hunch. I think I pretty much know after the first couple of wearings how I feel about a fragrance, and this one, I'm gonna give it about a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments if you've tried this fragrance. What do you think? Could it have been a better release, or do you think Jean Paul Gaultier have knocked it out the park? I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.